Hello guys, welcome back to the Beastie Room. We are going to rehouse a real hobby favourite and one of my absolute favourites. I know I've got quite a few, but this is one of them. And this in actual fact is probably my second spider I ever had back as a youngster. And we used to see a lot of them back then, but I'm sad to say I struggled back in the day when we very first started. I was only a young lad and I struggled to keep these spiders, you know, and we used to see them all the time. The local pet shops, they always had them. They always had them as little youngsters like this though. You never saw a big one. Always like this, and they would have been all wild caught back then as well by their thousands. And we are talking about the Avicularia, the common pinktoe or the Guyana Pinktoe. Now, I say, back in the day, sad to say, but I had, numerous ones. Every time a pet shop came in, I'd go and grab it. They were cheap as chips, really cheap. And yeah, but just struggled like hell to keep them. I don't really know why. I don't know what was so difficult. I was heavily into my reptiles back then, and much of how we kept our reptiles we translated into our spiders as well. Bearing in mind, I'm talking of a time, starting to sound really old now, I'm actually talking of a time when there just wasn't the variety. I mean, you new guys, you beginners of today that are just stepping into the hobby would be shocked to think that back when I started out, when I was a nipper, I think there was probably only half a dozen spiders that you could have. Literally, you could count them on a hand. There was none. You know, there just wasn't the spiders.
Half a dozen's two hands.
Now, this is the problem, guys. When you're married to an accountant, they get a little bit pedantic about the numbers. And as I always say to you guys, don't be chasing the numbers. Yes, I know 6 is 2 hands.
That was 10.
Anyway, I want to concentrate on what I normally do, yeah? We'll leave her to her own devices. Right then, so what we're going to do, we're going to set up this lovely little arboreal. This is a 20 by 20 by 30. You happy with them numbers?
Yeah.
Good. Right. Dearie me. Right. She's thrown me. She's knocked me off me flow. So what we're going to do, we've got some lovely plants here. We're going to plant this one out because, do you know what? This is what I have missed so much. You know, it's all right keeping spiders in tubs and things, but I do like my glass. Glass enclosures are just the way to go. Cool. Glass enclosures don't help you get the plants out though. Right, so we're going to put this one in here. Oh, that fits in lovely, doesn't it? Look at that. And just by adding a plant or two, it just gives a whole new feel to it. Now, one thing that we do have to be a little bit cautious about with the planting, especially with these Avicularia and any of the other Avics, to be fair, they do tend to web up quite a bit. Now, occasionally you'll get one that only webs up the part of its home, so it'll only web up behind the bark that it's living in or whatever. You'll get others that will web a little bit behind there, and then they'll web the whole top of the enclosure and make an absolute mess of it. So we have to be a little bit careful as to what we're going to do and where we're going to put it. And sometimes we may make up an enclosure like this with all the best intentions, only to rip it all out again and swap it for something else because our particular spider is just too much. It's just, you know, it just wants to destroy everything. And there's no point in wasting your plants. So what I'm doing here now, I am trying to get this in here. Will it fit? Yes. He says it will fit. One way or another. It's going to fit. Right then. But I've got that little bit there. Oh, look at that. It fell off. Right. So now it fits perfectly. So we got that in there. And we're gonna have a little bit of colour today.
Ooh, let's have a look.
Look at that. Isn't that pretty? So we're gonna have a little bit of colour today. And we're gonna see how this works. Because I think we all need a little bit of colour in our life from time to time. So we're going to pop that in there. Oh, I do like that. Right. So we're just going to stick that in there like so. Just to give us a little bit of extra. A little bit of something different. You remember we were saying once before that, you know, there is no right and wrong with how we do our enclosures, you know, how we decorate them, how we make them. There is no right and wrong. And I know you get your purists, they're like, hang on a minute, you're never going to find that flowering plant out in Guyana. Does anyone really care? No, I certainly don't. You know, this is all about making something that's really, really pleasing for us to look at. It's not going to affect our spider, you know. As far as I'm aware, this spider has got no adverse feelings against flowers. So it should in theory be okay. If we find it's all just a little bit too bright for her and she stays hidden away because the flower is just obnoxious, then we'll take it out. But I don't honestly believe that's going to be a problem. So we're going to put a little bit of moss in here as well. Like I say, she might just come and web the whole lot up, then go and hide laughing her head off, thinking, here, let's see what he says about this when he turns up this morning. There you go. Look at that. Does that not look pretty? Does that look all right?
Gorgeous. It
does, doesn't it? Looks absolutely gorgeous. So what we're going to do, we are going to put our water bowl in there now. And what we're going to do, we're going to put our water bowl a little bit lower down because of the webbing. Now this gun has been cooking away on here for the past 10 minutes, so it's very, very hot. Look at all that. That is savagely hot.
concentrate.
Yeah. Put that in there. Oh, God. You know, it's concentrating my tongue's out. There we go. I always find my sprayer is in the wrong place for where I want to do my stuff. Right, so we'll stick a bit of water down in here. Get this in here. Stick a little bit in there. Now hopefully all of these plants will settle in. She won't cover them up too much. That's all we can hope for, really. Right then, let's have a look at her. Now, as we say, these guys are a New World spider. They come from Guyana, so they're subtropical. She has been living in this box here, and these have done really, really well. The actual Avics have done really well in these boxes, but as you can see in there, they web absolutely everything up. They cover the whole lot. So they are a little bit messy. So what we're going to do, I wonder, she might just come out with the web. She might not. Be nice if we can get her out on this bit of bark, to be fair. Right, okay, what we're going to do, you see how this is like sheets. We're going to pull this up here. Throw that down there. Going to get rid of that. Pull off this rubbish here. As you can see with this one, she didn't web up behind it really at all, which makes me wonder, is she going to literally just cover everything that I've just built? Probably. What we're going to do then, we could just walk her straight in there, but let's see if we can have a nice look at her.
Sorry.
Did you just land? Right. So what we're going to do, you kicked the desk, that's very good of you. What we're going to do, we are going to walk her back up here very gently. Now the Avic are a very calm, gentle spider. They really are a very gentle spider. Now, they make wonderful beginner spiders because they're so gentle. That's not to say that you won't find one that's a little bit cantankerous. They do get a little bit funny from time to time. As we've often said before, many of our spiders are pure individuals. Never fall into the trap of thinking they're all the same. Now these guys don't really kick urticating hairs as such, but when they are annoyed, they will jump to escape.
Oh.
And they will also aim their abdomen at you and squirt poo at you.
Ew.
So if we see that coming, we're going to turn it around and aim it at the camera lady and we'll see if she can catch it on film or catch it somewhere.
You've made her crunch up with your...
Yeah. So what we're going to do, we're just going to tickle her leg. There you go. Look, and she opens up again. You can see them beautiful pink toes. It's where they get that name from. And you can see how the light changes on her, how she's got that beautiful green carapace, nice dark legs, and a red bum. What a lovely looking spider. Now, as I say, these are the actual mainstay. Now, when we used to get them as a kid, they would be skinny little juveniles. And I say, absolutely struggled to keep them. And I think we kept them too bare. Kept them in enclosures with not enough space for them to hide away and do their stuff. So I think they probably just stressed out. And we didn't keep them humid enough either. You know, they were all kept way too dry. Now these guys like a humidity right up there, you know, 70–80% humidity, absolutely love it. And they do really enjoy the warmth. And we found that if our room, for whatever reason, ends up a little cool, they will gravitate to the side of the enclosure where the heat is. So if we, like in our old room, we had our oil-filled radiators, they would actually move and try and get as close to the oil field in there as they could. So they really do enjoy the heat. Right then, should we get her in?
Yeah.
We'll see. She's been so well behaved. I say they really are a lovely little spider. So we're going to put that in there like that, and then we're just going to, with our fun, we're just going to move her over. You notice how where everything is so new to her, she's a little reluctant to put her feet on it. Come on. We'll get her to just drop down. There we go.
Very tentative.
Yeah, it's because it's all new. She knows it's all new, so she's very unsure of everything that's there. She's checking out that flower. I think she likes the flower.
Yeah.
Notice how that flower just gives a little bit of colour and all of that greenery, that natural bark. Really shows up. It's a nice looking thing now. I quite like the effect that gives. And as we said, it's not totally natural, but it does look nice. Now you can actually see there her pink toes really clearly on the edge of the exo there. They really are a lovely pink colour, which is where they get their name from.
Sort of whitening out on the camera.
Yeah, it's a peachy sort of colour. It's really very nice. Now, what's that? Oh, that's better, isn't it?
Yeah.
Blows it a little bit. But so in terms of food, these guys will take on pretty much anything. Then they're not fussed at all. If it moves, they'll grab it. They definitely are a spider that appreciates moving quarry. So anything like your crickets, roaches, anything like that, they will take. Now I find with our boreal spiders, which is what these are, I prefer to feed things like crickets, red runners. If you're feeding dubias, feed the males, because the males are active and they will move around. If you put a female dubia into an enclosure like this, unless you're feeding your spider directly, your dubia will disappear down in the soil, under the moss, never to be seen again, and your spider won't feed. And you know, we need to make sure our spiders are feeding. Now, quite often or not, when these have set up home, I will tongue feed these. So I will feed each and every one of them individually. So I know full well it's had its food and it's done what it needed to do. And then every so often, I'll just throw live male dubias in because they're active, and I'll let the spiders do their own thing. But I find by doing that, a little bit of each, I can always ensure I see my spiders and I get to see what they're all out and about and see what condition they're in, and then you can adjust your management depending on how they are looking when you see them. So we have some of our avics which will happily sit out in the daytime, and some of them will actually come out and have a wander at daytime. We have others that are quite secretive and don't like to come out. They'll hide themselves away. So what we do with those, as we do with a lot of our spiders, because what you've got to remember is the vast majority of spiders that we have are actually nocturnal. So we come in when the lights are out. We set all of our lights are on a timer here. So our lights go out at the same time every time. Our spiders become tuned into that. And normally within half an hour of them lights going out, all our spiders are out. They'll all be out and having a wander around doing whatever. The only thing that will dictate differently is if they've recently fed or they're coming up to molt and things like that. You won't see them. But if everything is normal, they will be out and about. So that's when we come in. We check with a torch and we go around and we have a look. And all of our spiders are more than happy to have us do that without running away and hiding. So it's a good time to come in, check your spiders. Even if you've got them, you know, at home in the living room, you know, by the time you all go to bed, just pop back down 20 minutes later when it's quiet with a torch. Quite often or not, you'll see that spider out. It's a good way of assessing how they are and what they're doing. Right, so we're talking about humidity. We said that we want 70 to 80% humidity. They will eat just about anything. They're a fantastic beginner spider because once you get them parameters sort of dialed in, they are quite hardy. You know, they can put up with quite a bit of abuse, shall we say. And by abuse, I mean lack of knowledge. So if you're very new to it, you're going to make mistakes. There's no two ways about it. You're going to make mistakes. Like I said in the beginning, I lost loads of these back in the day, all through inexperience. As time's gone on, I've got older, I've learnt more, I've kept more. My experience level has grown with me. So we all make mistakes. And even now, with some new spiders, I still get it wrong. So don't beat yourself up about it. Learn by your mistakes and just improve. If you're improving, then the mistakes were worthwhile. It's when you constantly make the same mistake, that's when you need to think about maybe you should do something else. You know, if you're improving, you're doing well. Right, so that is it. That is our common or Guyana Pinktoe.
One last look, she's pretty.
She's absolutely gorgeous, isn't she? You notice she's not been running away. She's not keen to go anywhere. They are very, very gentle, easy-going spiders. And if you're looking into breeding, these are a very, very good introduction into the world of breeding spiders because they're quite gentle on the males. They're quite easy to breed. So if you want to go down that route, one of these is a really good choice to make a start because, yeah, they are just so nice and easy. All right then. Well, I hope you enjoyed that. And don't forget, be calm, be gentle, and love your spider. and I'll see you all soon, guys.